I use the flipped classroom model in a couple of different ways. I do flipping actually in class and outside of class. What I'll do is when I do in class, I'll have my students, like for example when I tee off the urinary systems, I teach human anatomy and physiology. I'll have them watch 3 videos that are range from 35 minutes to an hour long. And then what I'll do is after each individual video, I make them take a short quiz just to kind of see what they retained after watching that video, and then I use that as a stepping stone into my lab in the following class period. So they come in, they already know the structure of the kidneys and the urinary system, so we can just get right into doing the dissection, identifying the parts, tracing blood flow through the kidneys and so on. And kind of the neat thing about doing that as well is that I get instant feedback into how students are just retaining the information right away when they're watching the videos. And what I've noticed is some of my top performing students actually kind of don't do well in those quizzes right away, and vice versa with some of my lower performing students. And that kind of shows me kind of who's putting in more of the effort outside of class and how I should kind of gauge my conversations with students individually, and trying to help them keep their grade up or get their grade up. Keys would be, I mean, for starters, just having a good solid lesson plan, and not being afraid to experiment, because I've talked to some teachers about this, and they've just they've given it a try. The flip lesson was a flop, and they just gave up on it. But kind of you have to be willing to experiment and see what works. But definitely a good mixture of kind of activity, group activity, maybe throwing in lecturing, because you don't have to have the classroom activity last the entire class. That could be you can make that last halfway through, and then that could be a good transition into myself or another teacher moving on and lecturing about another topic, except not for a long period of time. So it's just making sure that your students are engaged with each other, with me, the teacher, and then just like I said, kind of self-assessing, and then making sure seeing what works, what doesn't, how much time should I spend, how much time should I have them doing this group activity, how much time should I spend talking to them, and so on. One thing that's kind of alluring, I think, about this concept is that the students are in control when it comes to the lecture side of it, because you're having them watch the lecture on their own. And I mean, there's a pause button, there's a rewind button. They could go home, they could watch the lecture, they could get halfway through, quarter into it, they could make dinner, go to the bathroom, do whatever they have to do, and come back and continue watching. So being that the students are more in control, I mean, obviously the burden of responsibility is on them to get it done, but they get it done on their own time. And then I mean, who wouldn't want to hit pause? Who wouldn't want to pause the teacher in the middle of a lecture? So I think that part right there, I think is very conducive, especially just to kind of how our students are becoming nowadays anyway, with how digitally, social media, technology minded we're becoming. So that kind of just plays into that as well. So the fact that they have control, I think, makes them more apt to actually pay attention and follow along. And like I said, they can just hit pause.